Would you recommend that as a technique, Katina?
I would recommend opting out completely. So I guess data can't be hacked if it's not available on the cloud, and if you don't adopt a particular technology, then you're relatively safe from these technology invasions.
Okay, how far can you opt out? Have you got a mobile phone and an email
Yes,
address?
I have a mobile phone and I have a smartphone.
So how much would you recommend people opt out?
As much as they're looking at their own personal privacy scale and level of comfort, and I really don't apply my own personal ethical frameworks on others. So I think individuals have to ask the question, how much is too much? Many individuals are apathetic towards learning more about what devices do, and they don't read privacy policies. I mean, who was going to scroll through 70 pages of their Samsung TV's Wi-Fi enabled policy to hear and to read on the screen that Samsung can actually invade conversations in your home? Who's got time for 70 pages of scroll through on privacy policies to tell us that the Samsung television can hear what you're saying in your own household? Hands up, how many of you knew about that? Probably not many. 5, 6, 7. So we are introducing devices actually that are trespassing the bounds of what used to be called private space. Let's just leave the private space in our mind for a moment and look at the private space in our households in the United States, Europe and Australia. Anyone who trespassed the home through any type of wiretap required some kind of warrant to go to an authority to request a warrant to trespass your home and to listen to the conversation because perhaps there was a suspect of a criminal offence in there. Today we're inviting these devices into our home. I can name you quite a few. The Amazon Alexa device costs about $300. It's not shipped to Australia, but it looks like a water bottle, it's black and it has electronics inside. And instead of a search engine where you go to write and type something into the search engine, you just speak out your question. Alexa, tell me what the weather is like today. Alexa, tell me what the forecast for the weather will be in 2 weeks. Alexa, spell cantaloupe. Alexa, tell me, no, put this kind of music on. No, change this music. No, put the milk on the list, on the shopping list. Alexa, tell me what I should be thinking. Alexa's main conception is to go to the web, go to the cloud, go to the internet, derive a response using speech technology and adaptive technology, and come back and give you the answer in the spoken word. We have Nest. Google bought Nest for $3.3 billion. A smoke detector and thermostat that does human activity monitoring. How boring. How boring is a thermostat and a smoke detector? Why would Google invest in that? Of course, sustainability and human activity monitoring, and you could have your lights turn out when you leave the house. But talking about what you just said, I think it's a valid point. What do they want the email address for? What do they want this for? Or what do they want to know every time a human being walks into the house? Why did Google purchase $3.3 billion? Why did they change their name to Alphabet and as a subsidiary of Google? Google is now a subsidiary of Alphabet. Start thinking about the purchases so that human activity monitoring is telling people or companies and sending the data back to the cloud about what is happening, the activities happening in the home. So privacy has been invaded.
It is being invaded, but sometimes it's useful, like in Nest's case where it's doing human activity monitoring to work out whether someone's walked in the house. If they can save 40% of your electricity consumption and therefore have a meaningful input on greenhouse gas emissions in America where people leave their air conditioner on 24/7, like if there's a benefit like that, there is a stepping stone where you could improve the privacy laws and you could improve people's privacy, but still have the service that offers something meaningful?
So I totally agree with you. I think looking at crowdsourced solutions, one of my colleagues, Thomas Holderness, spoke in the previous session about how you can use crowdsourced information to help people in flooding victims. I totally agree with all of these steps forward. But companies, when they're saving the world 40% of a perhaps carbon emission or whatever else you want to say in terms of sustainability, they're on the one hand saving you, and on the other hand doing what? Exploiting you, manipulating you, figuring out what your personal wants and needs are and requirements, and I see that as a direct form of exploitation, except most people are not aware. They just feel good that they're saving 40% of their bill. That's a good thing. I agree with you. But on the other hand, what's happening to the analysis happening in your household, your personal behaviours?